It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, and the diner where I worked was unusually slow. The kind of day where you could almost hear the buzz of the fluorescent lights above. I was refilling the coffee pots when the door jingled, signaling a new customer. She walked in alone, her head held high, dressed neatly in a navy blazer and jeans. She had this calm, confident aura, but I could see her glance around, taking in the room like she was looking for a safe space to sit. "Good afternoon," she said softly as she approached one of the tables near the window. Before I could greet her properly, I heard Greg, one of the other waiters, let out a low, audible sigh. He leaned over to me, muttering under his breath, "Why do they always pick our diner?" I froze for a moment, not believing what I'd just heard. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "You know what I mean," he said, waving it off like it was nothing. "She's not my problem." I watched as Greg grabbed a menu and sauntered over to her table, his face devoid of the friendly smile he gave every other customer. I could tell from the way she sat up straighter that she sensed it too. "Can I get you anything?" he asked in a tone that was more of a demand than an offer. "Yes, I'd like a glass of water and a menu, please," she replied, her voice still polite. Greg didn't move. Instead, he crossed his arms, standing there like he was daring her to ask again. "Actually, I think we're full. You might want to try somewhere else." Her face fell. For a moment she didn't say anything. She just sat there, gripping the edge of the table. The air in the diner grew heavy. I wanted to step in, but I was too stunned. Then she did something that caught everyone off guard. She stood up slowly, her eyes locked on Greg's. "I'm not leaving," she said firmly. "I have every right to be here." Greg scoffed, shaking his head, but before he could respond, the door jingled again. This time, a man walked in. He was tall, wearing a well-fitted suit, and his presence filled the room immediately. He scanned the diner until his eyes landed on her. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, his voice warm. He walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sorry I'm late." She smiled up at him, and for a moment the tension seemed to lift. But then he turned to Greg, his expression hardening. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone calm but firm. Greg stammered, suddenly looking uncomfortable. No problem at all." "Good," the man said, "because I'd hate to think this establishment discriminates against paying customers." The diner fell silent. Every eye was on Greg, who looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. "I'll take 2 coffees, the man continued, pulling out a chair for his wife. "And make it quick. We're in a bit of a hurry." Greg nodded stiffly, retreating to the kitchen without another word. As they sat together, I finally found the courage to walk over. "I'm so sorry about that," I said, feeling the weight of my words. The woman looked up at me, her expression softening. "Thank you," she said quietly. I brought them their coffees and made sure to check on them often, hoping to make up for Greg's behavior. When they finished, the man left a generous tip and handed me a business card. "If this ever happens again," he said, looking me in the eye, "you call me." I glanced at the card. He was a civil rights attorney. As they left, I couldn't help but feel ashamed of how things had unfolded, but I also felt inspired. They didn't just stand up for themselves, they reminded everyone in that diner that dignity isn't something you ask for, it's something you claim. That day changed how I saw people, how I saw the world. And I knew one thing for sure. If I ever saw injustice like that again, I wouldn't stay silent. This story emphasizes emotions, integrity, and a strong sense of justice while feeling grounded in reality. Let me know if you'd like to tweak anything further.